Nobody completes me. I am whole and complete in and of myself. I'm looking for a human being who is whole and complete in and of themselves. And when two whole and complete human beings come together because they want to be together, that's magic. That's love and relationship on another level.
Welcome back to the You Need a Counselor podcast. This is a show presented by Heart and Solutions Counseling Agency. We release new episodes every Sunday at 5 p.m. Central and encourage you to batch up that laundry, put away the dishes, plan for the week ahead, or do any other task that might seem daunting while you give our show a listen. You might just be encouraged to call your therapist, connect with this week's guest, or seek out those services you've been considering for a while but haven't made the commitment to yet. If you are in the state of Iowa and are in need of mental or behavioral health counseling, give us a call at 1-800-531-4236. Enjoy the show.
Hello, and welcome back to the You Need a Counselor podcast. My name is Dr. Julie Johnson. I'm the president and founder here at Heart and Solutions, Mental Health Counseling and Behavioral Health Counseling here in Iowa.
And I'm Chrissa Hunt. I am our Vice President in charge of the Behavioral Health Department. And this is our podcast, You Need a Counselor. So we are designed for people curious about counseling, but have barriers keeping them from experiencing the benefits of counseling. Our mission is to share stories about counseling, good, bad, and indifferent, and spread the message that everyone can benefit from mental health and behavioral health counseling services.
Our guest today is joining us for the second time. We've got Elizabeth Aguilera here with us today, again, for our second episode. And Elizabeth is a life coach who helps women who are struggling with a narcissistic relationship or narcissistic abuse. And last episode, we got to talk a lot about what does narcissistic abuse look like? How do we identify it? What do we do when we do identify it? And today we're excited to talk about trauma bonding and what that is, because that seems to be a sticking point for so many women going through this experience. So welcome, Elizabeth. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, it's wonderful to be back. And thank you, Chrissa and Jolie.
Wonderful. Welcome back. So tell us a little bit about what is a trauma bond? What is that? And how might we identify that?
So a trauma bond is really a strong emotional attachment that is built through highs and lows in the relationship. It's kindness followed by cruelty. And it's a cycle. It's sort of a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. You never really know how they're going to show up. It's their behavior's inconsistent, unpredictable, and you literally are looking for the next time they show up as kind. And so this trauma bond is, people say it's love. If they don't know what healthy love is, then they will call the trauma bond love. But the trauma bond is a roller coaster, right? Healthy love is calm and you feel safe. And a trauma bond feels urgent and it just keeps you off center. And you don't feel safe because you don't really know how they're going to show up and what they're going to do from day to day. And that keeps you off of your center and keeps you sort of constantly wanting to emotionally regulate them, ping the room, read the room, and do everything that you can to keep things steady. That's not love. That's control.
So you work with women then who are struggling through a trauma bond and the cycle of keep going back. How do we learn to break that cycle then and to stop going back and break that trauma bond?
Yeah, the trauma bond is no joke. It's you can have physical and you can have mental, emotional withdrawal symptoms when you leave a very toxic relationship. I know I experienced that. I experienced physical withdrawal in that my stomach felt like it was being punched. And I had to hold my hands over my stomach, and I felt like I wanted to hunch over. It was a physical sensation, along with the obsessive thoughts and the loops and the playing back conversations over and over. You're just stuck in this mental replay of the past. And in order to really start to address what's going on, we need awareness that you can't think yourself out of the trauma bond, because your body has actually, your nervous system is actually been activated for such a long time that it's basically stuck in fight or flight. And you're living in survival mode for such a long time, you may think that this is normal. This is the baseline default. And after a while, you do think that. But our goal with trying to get over the trauma bond and breaking free from it is to try to bring that safety back into the body, back into the nervous system. And a wonderful tool that I always use and always talk to people about is the pause. And so being in a trauma bond and being in fight or flight, you're very reactionary, right? You want to come back when they say something, or stand up for yourself and say something and defend yourself, or give them an answer like right then and there. And that is just playing into the trauma bond or the toxic person. In order to instill safety back into your own body, the pause is crucial. The pause and the breath. The pause helps you slow down, and the breath calms you down. And then after you pause and breathe, I love this question: what would help me feel even 10% better right now? You're turning inward, and you're not thinking about them or thinking about the response to them or the trigger or anything. You're putting all of your attention and your focus on yourself and what would make me feel better right now. And so not responding to them right away, putting that phone down, taking a big glass of water, going outside for a walk, simple things. Nature is very stabilizing. And just putting your feet on the ground, very grounding and centering, and getting yourself out of whatever it is that just happened that sent you down a spiral, or to stop these emotional, obsessive thoughts. You want to come back to you and nature and the pause and breath, and what would make me feel even a little bit better in this moment. Starts putting the focus back on you, which is exactly where you want it. And then also to understand you don't have to respond immediately to anything. I'll get back to you is a great thing to say, have in your back pocket if you need to respond in the moment, but you need time. You need time for this, and you know it. And so having this awareness is going from emotion into awareness. That's your power. So you're giving yourself time to respond from a place of calm, peace, clear-headedness, so that you can respond the way you actually want to, and it's not reactionary. And so all of this is maybe simple, but not easy. And it does take practice, but it's coming back to yourself time and time again. And it's instilling safety in yourself time and time again. And how can I feel even 10% better in this moment? If you do that again and again and again, you're retraining the nervous system and your body to feel safe, to know what calm is. It's not this heightened state of survival that you've been living in. It's actually down here where you used to be. And it's a chance to remember what that feels like. And it may feel very uncomfortable at first. Calm can feel boring or flat or unfamiliar. And it's all of those things right now. But with time, you will realize that that's your true self, and that what you've been living in is actually this toxic place that you were never meant to be.
Yeah, I think that highs and lows, right, of a relationship, that unpredictability, that, oh, what's next, that adrenaline that can go. I think whenever we think about any kind of romantic comedies, right, or movies that depict love or relationships, right, there's always that conflict. There's always that, oh, this happens, and then there's this thing out of nowhere, and so when we, as we're growing up and seeing this and seeing these depictions of what a relationship is, we're seeing a lot of these storylines of like, oh, they hated each other and they had all this conflict, right, and then they fell in love and it was the best thing ever. And I can think of so many, like You've Got Mail and How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, right? All of those these movies that I know, like for us, like we grew up with that, and we grew up thinking like that's how relationships are.
Yes.
And so the idea that we don't have to have those aspects in a relationship in order for the relationship to be fulfilling and to be like true love, right? What movies and media would consider true love, is kind of a new concept for so many people. It kind of feels like in a movie or a show, it feels like that love or that happy ending has to be earned. Having the struggle, right, and the conflict and all the things, and when the reality is that love relationship doesn't have to be earned. You don't have to struggle, and we see that with workaholism too, right? That, oh, I can't rest until I
Yes.
have earned it because I've got to be frustrated and struggle, and very parallel, the idea that, oh, we've got to earn that happy ending, that relationship. So I love that. Anecdotally, it makes me think of, I know somebody who had a relationship, and that relationship ended because they said, I love the person, they're too boring. They're so consistent. They come home, they do their thing, they tell me nice things, they tell me about their day, and then we go to sleep, and the next day it's the same, right? And when I hear that, I go, that sounds great.
That's beautiful. Exactly.
But because if we've grown up in households where there's consistent conflict, change, right, and our nervous systems are addicted to that, right, then when we don't have that in our household or a relationship, that can feel very unsettling. We go through those withdrawal symptoms that you're discussing. And so then we go, well, that's not love, right? My heart isn't flood. I'm not getting butterflies all the time. What's going to happen? What's going to happen, right? I know what's going to happen. They're going to come home and we're going to have dinner, right? And so I think anecdotally, I think we've all kind of heard stories like that, right? Where it can feel like, oh, that can feel boring. Calm can feel boring, and especially for people with neurodivergence, calm can feel painful. My child, calm, quiet, it's painful to her. I mean, literally, she feels, just like you said, you felt it in your stomach, she feels that in her body too. And I think that for those of us who don't experience physical discomfort from calm and quiet, it can be really a learning experience to realize, oh no, there's a lot of people in the world that do experience pain and discomfort from calm or quiet. And so I love that you're saying that out loud. I think you're encouraging people that, yeah, that's something that a lot of people struggle with. And if you're identifying that for yourself, then that's a great thing to identify, because now you can accommodate yourself and you can stand up for those accommodations from others. So I just think that is wonderful. And I remember you talking about that pause. And I used to think that the term sleep on it, like, let me sleep on it. I used to think that that meant like, let me think about it. Because, when we have racing thoughts, or when we have, difficulty sleeping, or whatever it is, it's like, oh, let me sleep on it. Let me think about it. And I used to think of let me sleep on it as like an action step. And it's only the last couple of years that I've started to see let me sleep on it as, no, let me not think about it
Exactly.
for a while. And so taking that pause and not thinking about it and not responding to it or doing anything with it is a beautiful thing. We live in a society that says don't procrastinate, right?
Everything's instant, right? Everything's instant response, and you simply don't have to do that.
I love that. And so do you go in with your the people that you're coaching one-on-one, do you go into, hey, what is that alarm that's going off that says this needs to happen now, right? I can't allow myself to take that pause, or I don't have time to take that moment to myself, or that time to myself in between things. How do you help somebody kind of identify where that comes from, and how to support being able to do that?
Yeah, it's really important, because understanding how you got here is part of what I do, but and realizing that you gave your power up to this other person, and didn't even know it. And that where you are now, it's really a process of taking that power back. And there are no shortcuts to that. It's deliberate, it's conscious, it's intentional. So what does that look like? And it looks like anything that you need that will protect you, and that will protect your peace. Your peace becomes a non-negotiable. Anything that attacks your peace and makes you feel anything other than peaceful, like, that this is something that I have to look at very closely. And so realizing that you have the power to choose your state. You have the power to respond and not react. You have the power to deal with this and what's best for you. And they may want an immediate answer to a question, and the best answer is, I'll get back to you on that. It's giving yourself permission time and time again to not fall into your old patterns, and to not do what other people are asking you to do. I understand that you would like an answer right now. I'll get back to you. I'll get back to you on that. You're not saying that you're not going to answer them, but you're also giving yourself permission to respond and not react. This is power. This is how you take your power back. Because if they catch you in a reactionary state, they win. They always win. And that's what they want. They're going to push, and they're going to push, and they're going to push for what they want. That's what they do. That's what they're really, really good at. And so it's just saying, I see what's going on here. They're doing what's best for me. I'm doing what's best for me. They're doing what's best for them. I'm doing what's best for me. And that will always be my number one priority. And so it's reframing everything, that I'm taking back my power in all these different ways. And I'm focusing on me in all these different ways, giving myself permission to get out of everything that I used to do and create new actions and new ways to respond that are aligned with who I'm becoming.
Well, and a lot of, like you mentioned, like, why do I still miss him, is that video that we'll talk about. And like, oh, I still love him. Like, I'm sure a lot of it is they want to respond and they don't want to pause because they're so, like, they think they still love this person or they miss them. How do you kind of train their brains to, like, I mean, hopefully if they're reaching out to you, they already have kind of an idea that this isn't healthy and that they do need to make some changes, but to like change the brain and what they're thinking to like this isn't love, and like that's why you need to pause before you respond, and not always just like come right back to them.
Yeah, I mean, it's a process. Usually women who are in these toxic relations, they're empathic, they're nurturers and caretakers, and they know what you need before you even open your mouth. Like we're just so in tune with the people that are around us, and that got you in this position, and so it really is about seeing how you got here, what are the ways that you gave up your power, and starting to take it back. And nobody is above you, right? So you don't put anyone above you, and you have the right to be a priority in your life, and to have needs and wants and desires, and to take care of that. You've probably been trained not to have wants and needs and desires because everybody else's was more important than yours. And so it's all these ways of seeing how did I get in this position? What are the ways I gave myself up? What are the ways that I lost touch with myself? Because you literally don't even know who's staring at you in the mirror after you've been with a toxic person, because you're so used to having to give everything up. There's no time for anything else except them. So your passions, the things you used to love to do, no matter whatever that is, it's a time to pour into yourself and reevaluate and ask yourself, well, what are the things that I used to do that I loved? And starting to do them, giving yourself permission time and time again to do things that you love for no reason except that you love it. Like there doesn't have to be a reason behind why I'm doing this. There's no specific outcome that I must get from this, except I love it and it makes me feel good. Like that is very foreign, to just do something for the love of it. And this is what's needed, starting to pour into yourself and doing things that you love that you don't even remember what they were. So it's a time of remembering who you were, and even trying new things, experimenting, always giving yourself permission to do the thing that's calling you, just because. There's no reason. It's just because you want to. That's very foreign. Because everything has to have an outcome, and if I do this, then I have to get that, and all of that is gone now. It's just you.
Absolutely. Well, and the mental payback, right, for when we're in a narcissistic abusive relationship, there are benefits, right? There are things that feel good, even though overall, right, it's not good for us, or it's not good for our mental health. We keep either coming back, or we keep, thinking about those high points, because even on a roller coaster, there are those high points, even though it's going to go back down. And so when we focus on something else, when we take on a hobby that we love, we can get that, we can kind of transfer some of that, like, hey, I used to feel really, really good about myself when I would do something that pleased my partner, right? Or when they came home and saw that the house was clean and they were really happy about it, and then we had a great evening, then I felt really good about that, right? And so that I feel good about something when I have the idea that I can control somebody else's feelings or emotions or behaviors, needs a place to go. I mean, if we just say, nope, we're not doing that anymore, where do my good feelings come from, right? Where do they come from now? They were coming from this. And so if we are able to sublimate that a bit and say, okay, I need a new place for me to have a challenge, for me to have something to take care of. And so if it's like cooking, for example, right, there's lots of highs and lows in cooking and food preservation. Oh my goodness. There are tons of highs and lows, right? And we we really don't have a lot of control over some of the stuff. Like when we're growing food and stuff, we don't have control over a lot of it, but we have some control, right? And so we can still feel those highs and lows, and we can still feel good about the things that we're doing in a similar way that we try to do when we're managing another person. We just, the same way that we can't control how fast the corn grows, right? We can't control how, if another person is going to be kind to us that day or not. But if we can sublimate a bit and say, or with painting has so many highs and lows, right? And if we can feel that, we can still feel that, like, oh, last week I tried this technique and it did not work. And oh my gosh, this week I did and it worked, right? We can kind of get that, and our nervous system doesn't have so much of a shock when it's going, where's my serotonin? Where's my dopamine, right? Like, why don't I feel good anymore? What was the last thing that made me feel good? Oh, it was when that person was nice to me because they wanted something, right? And so if we can supplement that a little bit with something new, I think that takes some of the edge off of that.
It really does. I think that we need a plan when we're going to leave somebody. There are many plans, but you have to plan that the trauma bond is going to hit you as well. If you don't know it, that you may have these withdrawal symptoms and these, physical feelings, and absolutely to remove something that took up all of your world and just leave it an empty vacuum is not going to help what you're trying to do. Just like you said, to fill it with beautiful things that you enjoy and will grow you and challenge you and all kinds of things. But you definitely want to replace the void that they leave in your life with things that are good and wonderful and nurturing to you.
And you mentioned before we started recording that you have a video on your website, Why Do I Still Miss Him? A 20-minute video with a 3-step reset. Can you give us some info on what that video is about and about what this 3-step reset is that you offer?
Yeah. So as a resource to your audience, I would love that if there's anybody who this information has resonated with them and they would like a little bit more information about why do I feel this pull? I know mentally, cognitively, this is wrong, and I still feel pulled back to him. So there's definitely this disconnect. This resource, it's Why Do I Still Miss Him After Everything He Did? It's definitely going to fill in a lot of those gaps. It's going to give you this 3-step reset so that it's another tool to calm yourself when you're spiraling, calm yourself when you're ruminating obsessive thoughts and you just want to hit that pause button, but it's with other tools to do the same thing. It's training your nervous system into more calm and getting more used to what that feels like, because it will be a little bit unfamiliar at first, but the more you do that, the more you'll get in touch with really who you are and not who you've become, as you have been in this heightened state of awareness for far too long. And if anybody's interested in that video, it's at thegoodcalling.com. Just send me a message and I will personally send it to you.
Wonderful. What other signs might somebody see in themselves or be on the lookout for in themselves? So if we've taken that leap and we've ended a relationship, what might we be looking for? Because I know on the surface, yes, we're definitely looking for, I'm still talking to them, or I still want to, continue the relationship, things like that. But are there any other signs or things that we might want to look for that might indicate that we still have that trauma bond strong within us?
What comes to mind is confusion. The toxic person uses confusion as a weapon. and it's deliberate. It's not by accident. The confusion is the environment they need to control you. And so anybody who's feeling sort of chronically confused, off center, off, like it's this way, it's that way, and you don't know where you stand in anything, and every interaction leaves you confused. If you're in this chronic state of confusion, I think that is a huge sign that you are stuck with a toxic person, and whether you're with them or not with them, that confusion can linger and is absolutely telling you that this is a problem. There is more to look in here, because healthy love does not lead you to this unbelievable confusion. It leads you to clarity. It leads you to calm. But if you've never been in a healthy relationship, you don't know what that is. So confusion is always a huge red flag to me.
And I know you've talked about how like it could be boring, like when you're not in a relationship like this. How do you work with people who have left these relationships and aren't confused and they're bored and they're like, is this normal? How do you kind of help them cope with that too? Like, what is a good relationship after leaving a narcissistic one?
Yeah. So I like to help them come to the mindset that, there are wonderful, beautiful relationships out there, and to model success. For a long time, I was not of the mindset that there were even good men out there. I encountered back-to-back narcissists. It was tremendously painful, and I just closed my heart, shut myself off, and I just said, there are no good men out there. And that's simply not true. As I healed on my healing journey, I started to look around and I saw how many wonderful men there are everywhere. And I would look to married people who were married and happy for a really long time. They're still in love after everything that they've gone through in their life, and that all of this is possible. And I would watch them. I would sort of put myself in their shoes. And I have even spoken to these happily married couples and I've asked them, what is the secret to your success? And, they've shared with me that basically it's just choosing each other again and again every day. And so just seeing that there really are good things out there. We're not told the good things in media and in the news and in the things that we're looking at, or the information that's coming at us, right? So you can lose hope very quickly if you're focusing on all the negative that's constantly coming in. But if you take a look at your own environment and the people that are around you, or people like Kelly Ripa and her husband, Mark Consuelos, I love them. Like it's not perfect. They share all kinds of things that they go through, but there is love there, and they model what a successful, healthy relationship is. It's not perfect all the time. Heck no. But you choose each other again and again. And you communicate and you talk through things and you laugh and you make fun of each other, and it's all okay. It's all okay. And so modeling what a happy relationship is just from the people that are around me gives me hope. And I try to talk to my clients so that they have that same hope after going through a tough situation, to leave the possibilities open, because it's easy to want to shut your heart. I know that firsthand, but that doesn't give you the life that you want. And there is another way. And when you are healed and whole enough to start coming back to yourself, a whole other possibility of life opens up for you. And it's yours. It's yours for the taking.
Yeah, I love the idea of looking for that role modeling, because if we haven't had that as children growing up to watch, if we haven't seen that and we've seen love modeled in unhealthier ways, then it's difficult to imagine ourselves in a relationship like that, or to believe that there's a future where that could be for us. When we've never seen it, right?
Yeah.
So I love that. And I was thinking of, when I was a child, the show Mr. Rogers was like calmest, and so many people think it's so boring, but that's the point.
Yes.
Is that it is that consistent base level, peaceful, we're okay. Our excitement today is we're going to the bakery. And that's enough drama, because there's drama in everything.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be abusive drama. It doesn't have to be harmful drama. We can have drama in everything. And that drama is what gives us life, right? Is what makes life interesting. And so Mr. Rogers was just so masterful at finding the drama in safe things.
Yeah.
And allowing that idea that things can be safe and exciting at
Yes.
the same time. Are there other examples, or how might we, I love your example of Kelly Ripa, and I'm thinking of some shows where there are these, How I Met Your Mother, Lily and Marshall, right? That relationship is what a beautiful example. And so if somebody's going, well, nobody in my family, right? Everybody in my family is divorced, separated, has all these things. What are some ways that somebody can go, okay, how do I find a role model? How do I identify? I don't want to be role modeling myself after somebody that might not be in a healthy relationship. I don't know what that looks like. How might somebody find some examples?
Well, I'm a big lover of books. And so in reading, I have found just people like Ina Garten, who she is, she's a wonderful cook. She's the Barefoot Contessa. That's who she is. And so I'll just see somebody, and then they have a book, and I'll read about them and their life, and it just gives me so much more depth to what they've been through, because I see her on the TV, and I don't know much about her, but I know that she adores her Jeffrey, and seeing how it was not an easy road, and seeing that they almost divorced. They were this close. They are like the poster children for a beautiful relationship, and they are older now, much, much older. Seeing that they almost divorced, but they battled through it. They chose each other, and they chose to keep fighting for the relationship. So it's just learning and understanding time and time again that it's not perfection. There is no storybook romance. When I was little, I always wanted my Prince Charming, all of those things. And, you are your own Prince Charming. You are your own savior. Also, I was always looking for somebody else to make me happy. I always thought ultimate happiness was being that couple. And I was always searching for that happiness. And that is not how it works. I am the only one who can make me happy. Nobody completes me. That Jerry Maguire line just throws me. Nobody completes me. I am whole and complete in and of myself. I'm looking for a human being who is whole and complete in and of themselves. And when two whole and complete human beings come together because they want to be together, that's magic. That's love and relationship on another level, because it's not needy. And I'm not looking for you to fill in the parts of me that are empty. I'm already working on that for myself, because I'm the only one who knows what I need. You are not a mind reader. You can't make me happy. I can't expect you to make me happy. That's my job. And to outsource that to anyone is wrong. And it will not lead you to a happy relationship, because like I said, nobody can complete you. That's your job.
So who are your typical clientele then that reach out to you for life coaching? Is it people who are looking to leave a narcissistic relationship or have recently left, or people who are in this like trauma bond of coming and going back to that relationship, or are newly single? What is like the main clientele that usually reach out for your services?
You can be anywhere in that sort of process of the relationship, but the most important thing is you have awareness of what's going on. Maybe you don't know, everything that's going on, but the awareness has started to sink in that something is very wrong here. I'm not dealing with a normal relationship, and this is something that I just cannot make sense of myself. So that awareness has to already be, filtering in, and they would like some help with whatever it is that they're dealing with. I can't convince someone that you're in a toxic relationship. I can't convince someone you need help. I can't convince someone to reach out. You already have to be at that point where enough's enough. I've done this, it's not working, and I have to do something else, right?
Yeah, I really love that you talked about confusion as a signal or as a red flag, because it's not one that everybody would typically think of, right? A lot of times confusion, or that feeling of confusion, we turn that inward and
Yes.
we go, oh, if I was better at relationships, I would know what to do. If I was better at this, I wouldn't be confused, right? If I was asking the right questions, I wouldn't be. And so confusion is one that I think it's very easy to turn inward, as opposed to seeing it as a signal that something is wrong, right? That something is not the way that it should be. And I love it because in the decluttering world, that there's a really great principle called like the head explosion idea, right? And it's the idea that as we're decluttering, if something makes our head explode, right, we go, oh my gosh, I could use it for this, but I don't want it, but it doesn't fit, and it's this and that, but I love it, right? We go through all of that. If we have that like head explosion feeling, it's an automatic out. It's an automatic no, because nothing is worth our head exploding, right?
I love that.
In our world that is worth our head exploding and going through that unsettled uneasiness in our lives, because like you said, our baseline is calm, our baseline is peace. And if an item in our house is disturbing that peace, that item's got to go. And so similar thing with relationships, and that's whether it's coworkers or whether it's family or friends or our partner. If a relationship makes our head explode, then something needs to change about that relationship, right? We have to put up clearer boundaries, or we have to enforce the boundaries we've already set. We have to ask for clarification. And if we go through those processes and we say, I've done all the boundary setting, I've done all the boundary establishing, I've made these things clear, I've done everything on my end that I can do for this relationship, and it does not change the relationship, then we go, okay, head explosion, right? It's an automatic out.
Automatic out. I love that so much. Head explosion, not worth it. I'm out of here.
We only have so many days to live. Why do we want to live any of them or any of the hours of those days in head explosion mode? We don't want it. There's no reason for it. And if we are looking at our lives the same way that we look at our space and decluttering, right? And we go, okay, our lives, the time in our life equals like the space in our house, right? So we say, no, everything is an automatic no, unless it's a definite yes.
Mhm.
So if it's a definite yes, then absolutely, it's welcome in my house. It's welcome in my life. That relationship, that system, that project is welcome in my life if it's a definite yes. Anything else, we're raising that bar. Anything else that is a maybe, or like, oh, I feel good about that sometimes, or I feel good about that for this reason, it's all no. It's all out. And we build up those boundaries so we can keep those things out.
I love it. I love it. And to have standards.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Without a doubt. And if this thing doesn't meet that standard, like you said, out. I love that.
Absolutely. Wonderful. So if somebody is on the fence about starting coaching with you, either group coaching or individual coaching, what suggestion, or to reach out, to watch the video, what suggestion might you give to that person who's maybe on the fence about starting?
Well, just give yourself permission to want to explore and to know more. I do have a free break the loop reset session. You can sign up for that at thegoodcalling.com, and to just have a conversation about where you are, and to explore, just to give yourself that permission. It might be worth the 45 minutes to see what else might be there for you.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining us again, Elizabeth. And if you are listening and interested in learning more, like Elizabeth mentioned, her website is thegoodcalling.com, and we will link that in our show notes. And you can reach out to her to get access to that 20-minute video and 3-step reset as well.
I'm Elizabeth Aguilera, and I need a counselor.
And I'm Chrissa Hunt.
And I'm Julie Johnson, and we need a counselor.
And so do you.
Thank you for listening to the You Need a Counselor podcast. We are so grateful that you're here. You can also find and connect with You Need a Counselor on Facebook and Instagram. If you've enjoyed today's show, please take a moment to like, review, or leave a comment, as all of these things help others to find and benefit from the podcast as well. If you're in the state of Iowa and interested in mental health counseling or behavioral health intervention services, give us a call at 800-531-4236.